All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to unpack one of the most surprising and honestly forgotten alliances in modern history. It's the story of how two countries went from being secret best friends to absolute mortal enemies. Let's get into the secret history of Iran and Israel.
It is so hard to wrap your head around now, isn't it? The relationship used to be all about secret pacts and sharing top-level intelligence. Today, it's a full-blown shadow war, with talk of nuclear threats and mutual destruction. This incredible flip from friends to foes, that's what we're digging into.
So, that's the big mystery, right? How on earth does a deep, strategic friendship like that completely fall apart and turn into one of the most dangerous rivalries on the entire planet? Well, to find the answer, we've got to go back. Way back.
See, to really get their friendship, you have to picture a Middle East that looked totally different from today. Their bond wasn't forged on shared values. No, it was forged by a shared threat that kind of pushed them together as the two outsiders on the block.
So picture this. The Ottoman Empire is gone, and this powerful wave of Arab nationalism is sweeping across the region. Now, if you're Iran or the brand new state of Israel, you're the odd ones out. You're not Arab. The Shah of Iran, in particular, was getting pretty nervous. He saw a unified Arab bloc, led by guys like Egypt's Gamal Abdel Nasser, as a direct challenge to his power in the Persian Gulf.
To deal with this, Israel's first prime minister, David Ben-Gurion, came up with a really smart strategy. He called it the peripheral doctrine. The logic was pretty simple. If you're surrounded by enemies, make friends with the powerful countries on the edge of the neighborhood. And when you look at a map, who was the biggest, most powerful non-Arab player on the periphery? Yep, Iran.
And they didn't waste any time putting this into practice. Israel is founded in 48, and just 2 years later, Iran does something huge. In 1950, it becomes only the second Muslim-majority nation to give de facto recognition to Israel. Then, in 1953, a CIA-backed coup makes sure the Shah's power is secure, locking Iran in as a key pro-American ally. The foundation for this incredible partnership was set. And what followed was, wow. It was a true golden era of cooperation. Now, officially, they kept it pretty quiet to avoid ticking off the Arab world, but behind the scenes, the bond between these two nations was becoming incredibly deep, and it went into some really sensitive areas. And I mean deep. Just think about the level of trust here. You've got Israel's legendary intelligence agency, the Mossad, actually training the Shah's own secret police, Savak. They were sharing intel all the time, Israeli advisors were training Iranian pilots, and they were even working together on missile technology. This wasn't just a casual friendship. It was a deep, deep strategic alliance. And this is where the story takes a truly ironic turn. The very same nuclear program that is the source of so much tension today, well, it was originally a gift from the US and Israel. Under the Atoms for Peace program, America gave Iran its first research reactor, and Israeli scientists were the ones who trained Iran's first generation of nuclear experts. You just can't make this stuff up. Their economic teamwork was just as genius. So Israel needed oil, but the Arab producers were boycotting them. Iran had tons of oil, but getting it to Europe was tough with Egypt controlling the Suez Canal. So what was the solution? A secret 50-50 owned pipeline right across Israel. Iranian tankers could just bypass the canal entirely, unload at the Red Sea, and the oil would get piped straight to the Mediterranean. This thing was way more than a pipeline. It was a symbol of their brotherhood. And after a while, this friendship became something of an open secret. You could literally hop on a direct flight from Tel Aviv to Tehran. Israeli engineers were all over Iran, helping with modern farming and tech. There are even these great stories of Prime Minister Ben-Gurion flying to Tehran wearing a wig just so he could meet the Shah without any media fuss. So you've got decades of cooperation, secret deals, and this deep trust. And then, almost overnight, it all came to a sudden, shattering end. The breaking point was one of the biggest geopolitical earthquakes of the 20th century, the Iranian Revolution of 1979. And man, when it collapsed fast. The Shah is overthrown by Ayatollah Khomeini. Just a few weeks later, the big Israeli mission in Tehran, their unofficial embassy, is stormed. Then, in this hugely symbolic move, the new regime welcomes Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat, and on the very same day, hands him the keys to that building. Just like that, it became the new Embassy of Palestine. This wasn't just a change in government. It was a complete 180-degree ideological flip. Under the Shah, the main threat was Arab nationalism. But overnight, under Khomeini, the #1 enemies became America, the Great Satan, and its key ally in the region, Israel, now called the Little Satan. Their former partner was now an ideological enemy. But the story doesn't quite end there. In this final, complex chapter, the old friendship wasn't just over. It was completely buried under a new and dangerous reality. And there was one last ironic twist.
And you're not going to believe this, but even after the revolution, old habits died hard. During the absolutely brutal Iran-Iraq War, the new revolutionary government found itself desperate for weapons. And who secretly supplied them? Israel. That old peripheral doctrine logic kicked in one last time. Helping Iran was a way to weaken their mutual enemy, Saddam Hussein's Iraq.
But as soon as the Iran-Iraq War ended, so did any last shred of a reason to cooperate. Khomeini's regime revived that old nuclear program, the one started with Israeli and American help. And what was once a gift, a symbol of their friendship, was now seen by Israel as an existential threat. The final break was complete. The shadow war we see today had begun.
Their entire secret history was built on one simple principle: the enemy of my enemy is my friend. It really makes you wonder, in the constantly shifting world of the Middle East, is there any shared threat out there big enough, scary enough, that could ever bring these two former allies back together again?